culture questioning, disciple making, kingdom building. That's our what, how, and why on the Just a Thinker podcast and at justathinker.com. I am your host, Brian Bootke. Do your views on politics require coercion, or do they follow the golden rule? Do we as Christians in America support public policies that are incongruent with a biblical worldview? If so, how would we know? We say we follow Jesus as the early church did, or that we're apostolic, yet how often do we evaluate this against what Jesus said or what we read about in the New Testament? How should a biblical worldview inform our approach to criminal justice, education, immigration, prohibition, taxes, and more from a public policy standpoint? Remember, public policy is different than what you and I want to do in our homes and within our congregations. We are all capable of thinking critically about these subjects, even if we're not an expert in a specific area, but are we thinking biblically about them? Are there consequences and contradictions that we may be unaware of? If so, how do we discover them unless we discuss them? Or is it possible as believers with a biblical worldview that we have not fully considered our approach to these subjects in light of how Jesus handled the relevant situations of his day? Should we not at least consider the possibility that our approach is influenced more by the world's norms and ethics than Jesus? Is it possible that what Jesus said then could still have a powerful impact upon today's politics in precisely the place where ethics meets public policy? I think so. We must, as professing followers of Jesus, keep in mind that all laws, regulations, and ordinances are enforced by the legalized use of coercion. Consider what Jesus said to believers who are in a country occupied by a foreign superpower. Observe those who bring about harmonious relationships between opposing people. They are assuredly fortunate with the good life, for they shall be called the sons and daughters of God. The good life, the kind of blessed life, the flourishing life that everybody desires to have. Jesus says it is for the peacemakers, not the Machiavellian power colluders who are playing all the right angles, scheming for all the advantages and securing whatever they can for themselves. No, not them. Not the moral legalists either, who are so diligent to keep themselves untarnished by the messiness of life. No, not them. Not the isolationist who retreats far away from the conflict, nor the armed revolutionary so confident in their just cause. No, to Jesus, the good life, the blessed life, that life which flourishes belongs to those who step into the messiness of all of this in attempt to bring about some harmony from the conflict. Those folks, the risk takers, they're living the good life. Will they be successful in their attempts for peace? Perhaps. That doesn't diminish their flourishing, because the flourishing is in the doing, not necessarily in the successful outcome. Those in conflict may have reasons to want to keep the conflict alive. Consider the foreign military officer, that Roman commander, and the local revolutionary fighter, the Jewish zealot. One or both of them may have seemingly rational reasons for not wanting peace. Nevertheless, a peacemaker will try to bring these two opposing sides together in some kind of harmonious relationship. This is no trivial matter. And even if those two directly involve or truly appreciative of the peacemaker, many others within the wider sphere of political influence may not be so pleased. Okay, so what's the point, you ask? Everyone has reasons to justify their strong positions of opposition against one another. The Roman commander versus the Jewish zealot, the Democrat versus the Republican, rights to ancestral lands, appropriateness of education curriculum. And the list could go on and always will. Why? Because divisiveness is easy. Staying out of it is easy. Apathy, it's easy too. But peacemaking is not. It wasn't then. It certainly isn't now. But just as it did then, it does now lead to the good life. And don't you and I, as followers of Jesus, want as much of the good life as we can get? Don't we want our life and the lives of our family to flourish? I think so. Although that probably means we need to reconsider how our biblical worldview and ethos shape our approach to the relevant and often contentious subjects of today, but also how to engage those entrenched in political opposition which includes ourselves. Just think about it. We will discuss these topics and more here on the Just a Thinker podcast and at justathinker.com. Again, I'm your host, Brian Butka.